Hey everyone, it's Joe. So we just put out a video announcing that HITRECORD is going to evolve from a production company to a platform. In that video, we talked about how in order to facilitate that happening, one of the things we've done is raised capital for the first time. So in this video, what I want to do is introduce you to our lead investor. His name is Alex Gurevich. He's a swell dude. I've gotten to know him quite well. So here's Alex. Welcome.
Where am I looking? This one?
Anyway, we got three cameras.
Oh my God.
This is a big deal.
360 view.
For those of you out there who are, care about HITRECORD, probably don't know a lot about venture capital or what that is or what you do. Do you want to just kind of describe what you do for a living?
Yeah. So I work at a venture capital firm. It's called Javelin Venture Partners. So essentially what we do is we find amazing entrepreneurs that have amazing visions for how they want to change the world, as well as building a valuable company at the same time. And we decide whether we want to provide capital to the company to essentially hire people, expand from there. We then actively help guide them as well in terms of, how do you build the right foundation to build the kind of company that you want in the long term.
What are some of the other companies you've invested in?
Yeah, so right now we have about 50 companies, active companies in our portfolio. Some examples, maybe companies you've heard of, are Thumbtack, which is an online consumer marketplace for service providers, Masterclass, which is an online video education company that taps, essentially the best people in the world at their craft and helps them essentially disseminate their knowledge around the world to anyone and makes it accessible to them.
That was a really convincing one for me because a Masterclass has been really impressive to me in how they've grown, how they've presented themselves. And you introduced me to David, the co-founder and CEO of Masterclass. He's also been a great friend and sort of mentor because Masterclass is like many, many, many steps ahead in the growth of their business from where we are today. Yeah. Any member of the HITRECORD community that cares about our community should have well-founded skepticism of wait a minute, okay, you're raising money. Does that mean that you're gonna change this thing that I love? And now your goal orientation is going to be just to make money instead of what it's always been. And look, we've been a cash flow positive business for many years, but we've always said we're not doing this for the money. We make money so that we can keep doing this. And I could understand someone being like, is that changing?
No, first of all, our ownership is very tiny and small. So our piece of that pie is not substantial that we're, even able to do that even if we wanted to, which we do not at all, right? We're not investing in a situation where we have to call the shots or run the company because that is not a winning formula, right? Ultimately, companies succeed or fail based on the entrepreneur. So our job is to essentially read the entrepreneur and see if this is a person we can get behind and get excited to work with on a daily basis. It's about help. It's about coaching. It's about helping you kind of see potential blind spots and think about where you want the company to go 5-10 years from now and kind of work backwards. To figure out the problems that you have to solve now to get to that point. Look, just to be completely honest, we are venture capitalists, right? So our job is to invest in companies that can become big, and the equity that we own in that company could become as big as possible. But ultimately, this is your business, your company, and you decide what you want to do with it.
Well, that's what it's been really for us so far, and this is a big part of why I felt really good with partnering up with you guys was because I don't have the experience in technology. I feel really confident running a production company because I've worked in many productions before. But tech was something that I felt I needed that guidance, and both Jared and Mark, the co-founders, we all needed that guidance. And it's been so valuable so far just being able to get that experience. Just saying okay, has something like this ever happened before? How have you solved this problem in the past? And we can get those answers from you. Okay, so when I first sat down and said I've been doing this thing, HITRECORD, and I'm thinking about trying to raise money for it. What was the next step? How did you go about vetting HITRECORD, and what made you think maybe this is a good idea?
Well, so to be honest with you, this is the first time.
I don't know if I've asked you this so pointedly before.
I don't think we've ever actually talked about this. This is definitely candid camera over here. I was a little bit skeptical the first time because you have a well-known persona, celebrity, pitch you an idea, there's a natural, I think, kind of skepticism, at least from people in Silicon Valley when it comes to
Hollywood. Just say it. Hollywood.
Just Hollywood in general. So there was a bit of skepticism. I think the first time you told me about it, I didn't quite grasp the full idea. I kind of got the vague sense of it, and I honestly just wanted to be helpful. And actually, a lot of our investments start off by building a relationship where you're just trying to be helpful to entrepreneurs, and over time you get to know them better and what they're trying to do, and then it evolves into something more interesting. So I think the first moment that I realized, wait, there's something really interesting here is when actually you, myself, and Jared had that brunch where you actually took me through the deck. And it
was our first draft of a deck. It was like you said, you being helpful. We were like, this is our first draft of an investor pitch deck. Would you give us feedback on it?
Yeah. So once I was like, I'll give these guys feedback. And I was like going through, I was like, wait a second. This is actually super interesting. So I was like, I'll give you feedback, but first you got to go talk to me and my partners. Right. And then we'll give you more feedback. So I think that was kind of the evolution of it.
What did you think when you went onto the site and you saw the community of people that are there?
My impression when I went on the site was, wow, I can't believe that I'd never heard of this in the past. I mean, 2 million pieces of original content. 700,000 active community members. I was really kind of blown away, and frankly, I did have this feeling that the site was sort of designed a while ago, and people were still jumping over all these hurdles to create this awesome content. It's like, well, that's a good use of capital, right? Like that is a good use of our dollars. If you can actually make it easy and easier for these folks to do what they want to do, it's just going to unlock a lot of potential. I think the other thing that I thought was what you've done over these last 8 years is extremely difficult, and that's one of the key things that we look for as an investor. What is the secret sauce, and what is going to be really hard to replicate and make this a really valuable company over time? And just the way that, I mean, to get thousands of people to collaborate remotely in an online forum to create this amazing content that's been validated, Emmy Awards, deals with Netflix, big brands, right? I mean, this just really phenomenal work. I've never seen a company be able to pull that off. And it wasn't like something you guys figured out overnight. It took those years of trial and error to get it right. And there's a lot of nuance of how do you activate individuals to come together and make something beautiful happen. And then also how do you pay them fairly? That was a big part of it as well. And you guys solved that with your ability to manage the community and your ability to build interesting software and technology.
And I'll add that it wasn't just us, all the different things that we have figured out over the years of how to make HITRECORD go has been very much a feedback loop with the community. It didn't start this way. So it wouldn't be what it is, and it wouldn't be impressing a guy like you if it hadn't been for all the people that have come and been a part of the site and given their feedback and just used the thing and tried to make stuff together and said so that we could see what was working and what wasn't working. So I just want to give credit where credit is due. It's not just me or Jared or even any of the people in this office, although everyone here works their ass off. It's really due to all the people in our community who are on the site and doing it all the time.
I hope you recognize how rare that is, to have an engaged community like that is so invested to do it out of their passion for the community. That is extremely rare. Most companies we invest in just don't have that kind of foundation to start with. So we felt really, really good about that. Joe, I actually have a question for you. So raising capital is a big decision. And frankly, you didn't need to raise capital. You guys were running a profitable business and doing your thing. Why did you decide to raise money?
Yeah. Well, you're right. We've been cash flow positive for years, and we've been able to sort of slowly and steadily grow. I'm super proud of what we've been able to do together as a community and as a company and in the sort of production company model. But I was mentioning this in the video where we announced, I think there have been pitfalls, sort of roadblocks that we've hit over the years because we're a production company. And I think largely it's because we've never, and you sort of pointed this out, we've never been able to really hit the gas on our tech. for the first number of years, we even refused to acknowledge that we were a technology company, because we would always say, you know, we don't come from technology, we're not going to be good at that, we're a production company. But I think that that's been a limiter, and what it limits is how many people get to be involved. Because as a production company, you know, I or other people in this office, we start these big scale projects, and then we invite the community to come and collaboratively help us finish them. And you do see some people starting their own projects, and they're heroes, the people out there that do it. But our UX, our user experience, does not make that easy. And there's, I think, a lot of like fairly obvious things you could do to make the technology, the product, as I've now learned it's called, a lot more intuitive, and allow people to come start their own projects if they want to, or if they don't want to start a project, find a project and jump in on that. Right. And whatever their skill level, whether they're beginners, experts, anyone in between, whether they want to put in a lot of time or just put in a little bit of time, find something, find somebody to come in and just like do your thing with. That's been kind of the dream.
One thing that we get really excited about at Javelin is technology that works for people versus against them. And that just resonated with me like dramatically, because not only are you doing good, but it's also potentially applicable to a lot of human beings, which makes it a mass market company, potentially, which means it could be a valuable company.
You know, the word that gets thrown around Silicon Valley a lot that I've learned recently is alignment. That means that our mission is aligned with business interests.
Yeah, and it's also kind of the confluence of social good and, you know, call it, you know, profitability, right? Mm-hmm. Those two things can go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. And when they align, it's a beautiful thing, right? And what I really loved about, you know, kind of your plans for raising capital, it was about investing that capital back into the community, right? In terms of like the tools and you know, some of the technology that you want to invest in to make that creative process go even better and appeal to a lot more people.
Do you try to forecast where different industries are headed, and like, do you have opinions about where, say, media is headed and where HITRECORD might fit into that? Is that part of why you would invest in?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a critical part of our investment thesis. So we've actually been able to see this firsthand through Masterclass, and just, you know, kind of really following the space, that there is a just mega shift happening right now in the entertainment and content world that I think you're very familiar with, where you have these, you know, huge technology companies, right, that have recognized the fact that one of the best ways to retain their customers and grow their businesses is to invest in original content, right? And so you have companies like Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, Facebook is getting into it. Apple's just, you know, starting to feel out the waters, but obviously they have a huge war chest, and they're throwing around billions of dollars chasing original content, and that's turning this whole industry on its head, because you have the traditional incumbent players, right? The studios and the NBCs of the world. They can't compete, right? Or at least they're trying to compete. So there's sort of bidding wars that are happening right now for content. It's only going to get more, more and more. And why I think that's extremely interesting for HITRECORD. Not only I think are you well aligned with some of those tech businesses, it's the way that you guys have approached content creation, where you're combining software and this sort of collaborative media and to create amazing content. Like, you're going to be in a phenomenal position to succeed in the future, because those other studios can't create as much content as you guys, and we could do it at scale, right? Which fits really nicely to these distribution channels, right? So for any creator on HITRECORD, there's a chance for their work or the work that they contributed to be featured on some, amazing distribution channels like Netflix or Apple, or
which has happened already.
Which has happened, yeah. Which again, you guys have already demonstrated that, but that is going to happen more and more. So I just feel like HITRECORD is just so well positioned to succeed in that world. Do you want HITRECORD to be a place where like that creativity comes out for everyone, or is it okay to just be someone that observes the creative process as a fan almost?
It's 100% cool. Well, that's how it starts.
Yeah.
I think we want to make a place where if you're not ready to contribute on your own, cool. just come check it out. You can lurk for a while. You can see how other people do it. You can make friends. You can give feedback. You can maybe start curating. You don't have to draw your own thing or write your own thing. You can just like say like, well, here's some things that I like, and that can actually be very helpful.
Get involved with very easy to do kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
Well, that's one of the things I'm really excited about building is that kind of journey for people. Right. Yeah. And so to build a software that can help people start at the beginning. You can be a total beginner. Be like, here's some good first steps. Here are some other people in the community who are feeling the same as you, and you might kind of help bring creativity out of each other. Being creative alone is hard. It's really, really hard when you're staring at a blank page and you're like, I know I want to write. I know I have a story to tell. What is it? I don't know. What should I write? I don't know. But you start hanging out with other people. Someone else might have a little idea, and they're like, well, I have this idea, but I don't know what to do with it. But then a third person might say like, oh, that's a cool idea. I know what to do with that. Yeah. And once you start putting people together like that, people bring creativity out in each other.
A lot of companies start that way. There's a few people out there that can kind of ideate on their own and come up with that amazing, spark of wisdom that gets them to start a company. But a lot of people just say, look, I want to start a company. I have no idea what my idea is, but I'm going to get a bunch of smart people in a room. I'm going to just start ideating and brainstorming, and one person will say one thing, another person will say another thing, and it builds from there. And then they kind of filter to the ideas that really resonate with them. So it's interesting how there's that parallel with creativity and actually entrepreneurship as well.
That's the creative process. Right, so. Well, this is part of what I've been actually really enjoying about sort of embracing the entrepreneur in myself. I never would have called myself an entrepreneur before. I never used to we recently started calling me CEO, and it always still kind of feels weird to me. And we always called me just the director of HITRECORD because that's a title that I'm familiar with. But I'm actually starting to really enjoy because there is a real creativity in entrepreneurship and building a company that can work and that can provide an experience to a lot of people. And it's different than the way that a movie can provide an experience to a lot of people. Right. This is a different kind of art form that's actually, I'm really, now that I'm embracing it, I'm really turned on by it.
Yeah, that's great. Part of what you're trying to do here is inspire people. And everyone wants to be inspired. Again, that goes back to the mass market nature of it. It's something we've seen with Masterclass, right? A lot of our customers go there not because they want to be the next great actor or the next great writer, but they're just really curious about what that process is like. And they want to be inspired to potentially go deeper into a particular hobby or something like that. But inspiration is vital, and I don't know a single human being on earth that doesn't want to get inspired. Right? Yeah. So that's really cool.
Well, maybe that's an inspiring note to end it on.
Yeah, absolutely. This is fun, man. This is great. Yeah, well done. Fantastic.